If you're saving and planning for retirement, I think this video can save you a lot of time. For many years, I've done a radio show on finance and investing from an academic perspective, and for many of those years, there were no other companies doing that. And as time went on, more companies joined me. Now, the thing that saves time is this: understanding the distinct philosophies of investing. Number one, you have the idea that markets work. I'm going to talk about that more in just a second. The second philosophy is the idea that markets fail. And the idea here is that we can pick stocks and we can time the market, or we can find people that have great past performance and invest with those people that seem to have the golden gift. Now, the idea here is that we're using something called fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Now, by definition, fundamental analysis, what we're doing, we're taking deep dives into the company's financial statements, industry trends, economic indicators, qualitative factors. These things all sound great. We ought to be doing this before we invest. Well, the idea here is that it's really just stock picking, as Charles Schwab puts it. It's really trying to figure out which companies are going to do better than others. Now, does this philosophy work? Well, what we see here from MarketWatch is that it is a loser's game, is what they say here, or that it has a terrible track record and it's getting worse. We see that monkeys throwing darts, blindfolded monkeys, actually do better than the professionals, and we see that right here with the red being the professionals being beaten by what the market does on its own. It is a failed concept when it comes to investing. But how do investment managers actually go about the investing process? Do they walk away from this? No, actually, let's read their disclosure statements, the other firms that do shows on the same station that I do. Now, number one, what they say right off the bat in their ADV, which is their disclosure statement right here, this is the first firm, we're going to use fundamental analysis. We're going to look at financial forecasts to determine what's going to happen next. And we're basically talking about looking into the crystal ball right there. We're going to use technical analysis as a method of evaluating securities. So they're telling you right off the bat in their disclosure forms that that's what they do. This company right here, they're telling you right there, we use fundamental analysis to determine our strategies for our clients. This firm right here, they're saying we're using technical analysis. We're looking at past price patterns. It's like driving down the road with your eyes in the rearview mirror. And we're going to use fundamental analysis to analyze individual companies. So they're saying it right there. A lot of people don't read the disclosure statements to see that that's what's going on. Now, what should it look like? Well, this is our disclosure statement. In my humble opinion, I think that's what it ought to look like. Going to use modern portfolio theory, the idea of putting things that have dissimilar price movement historically to reduce the overall risk of the portfolio and maximize expected return. This won the Nobel Prize in 1990. Multi-factor theory, putting things together that have different expected returns to diversify the portfolio. Asset allocation, studies of pension plans found that anywhere from 91 to 94% of the difference in returns in pension plans was due to asset allocation decisions. Well, that's what we ought to be focusing our time and attention on, right there, asset allocation. So if we look at that and we say, okay, that seems to make some sense, does it make sense from a legal perspective? Well, we actually see the American Law Institute talks about in the Prudent Investor Rule that it makes a whole lot of sense to invest in this particular manner. So maybe we can save you some time and just talk to us about how we actually go about the investing process, because finally, what we do a lot of is education of the investor, because the more you know, the more you understand, what am I doing, why am I doing it, how does it work, and what are the expenses. I believe the more confident as an investor you will be.